Hi guys, this is Finding Education again, and today we're going to go through Paper 2H from the Mathematics A iGCSE May-June series in 2009. This is going to be a work through of the paper, so you can essentially use this as a mark scheme. Again, you're given 2 hours to complete this paper, and it's 100 marks, and let's start the paper. So always remember you're given the formula booklet that has some very key formula that you may or may not remember during the exam, so you don't have to memorize them all. The table shows the information about the heights in centimeters of 48 sunflowers in a garden center. It gives it to you as a table. Work out the estimate for the mean height. So remember with the mean height, we need to get the midpoint. So this one would be 95, 105, 115, 125, 135. And what we want to do is we want to do 95 times 8 plus 105 times 12 plus 115 times 15 plus 125 times 10 plus 135 times 3, and we want to divide that by the total frequency. So the total frequency is 48 sunflowers, and that should give you an answer of 112.5. Use a ruler and compass to construct the perpendicular bisector of the line DE. You must show all your construction lines. Now, I don't have a compass or a ruler, but what you would do is you'd place the pointy end of your compass here and stretch it to slightly more than halfway, and you would draw the arc of a circle on either side. Then you leave the compass at the same length, put your pointy end here, and draw your arc going the other way, and wherever these two lines connect, you would draw it going down, and that should be your perpendicular bisector. Again, I don't have the necessary tools or on my screen record that would allow me to do it accurately. Explain why A intersection B does not happen. Well, this is because there are no members in A that are also in B. X is a subset of the universal set. Find two possible values. It's not in A or in B. So we have 2, 4, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, and 10. So the only two possible values left are 1 and 9. C is such that A union B union C is in that. A and C is 2, B and not C is 4, 6, 10. So we know that C is going to have 2 from this, well, I guess rule. B and not C is 4, 6, and 10. So it has to have 8 as well. And the other numbers that it could be would be 1 and 9, because it has to fulfill the first rule as well. So it has to include all the other numbers. A cylinder has a diameter of 14 and a height of 20. So remember, you're given the volume formula. So the volume of a cylinder would equal pi r squared h, and we can just sub in the values given to us. So it'd be pi times 14 squared times 20, and that would give us a value of 3080. The three significant figures, centimeters squared. Centimeters cubed, as it is volume. Josh buys and sells books for a living. He buys 120 books for £4. He sells half the books for £5, 40 books for that, and the rest, and so on. So the amount of money he spends would be 120 times 4, which is £480. That's how much money he makes. He sells 60 books at £5, which would give him £300. He sells 40%, so 40% would be 48 books at £7, which gives him £336 books, and he sells the rest. So in total, so far, he sold 108 books, so he sells 12 books at £8, which is £96. So the total money he has made would be 300 plus 336 plus 96 would be 732, minus his cost would give him his profit, divided by his cost, and we need to times it by 100 to get his percentage. And that would give us an answer of 52.5%. One book that Josh owns had a value of £15 on the 1st of May, and the value of this book increased by 20%. So what we can do is 15 times 1.2, as it has increased in value, which would give us a value of £18. So the value of the book would be £18. Oh, sorry, it said what would the value have been the year before. So actually, it would have been 1.2x would have been the year before, is equal to 15. So the value before would be 15 divided by 1.2, which is £12.5. Now these triangles are similar, so 6 to 15. Find the ratio, so we can divide that one by 6, so 15 divided by 6 would be 2.5, and then the corresponding side is 4.2. So we do times it by 4.2, and we get 10.5. So from here to here, we divide each side by 6, and then we times each side by 4.2. Work out the length of BC. Well, if I know that it is 1 is to 2.5, and I want to find out 19.5 on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to divide each side by 2.5 and then times it by 19.5. So I can do 1 divided by 2.5 and times my answer by 19.5, which will give me 7.8 centimeters. 30 students in a class sat a mathematics test. The mean mark was for the 30 students was 26.8. 13 of the 30 students in the class are boys. The mean mark for boys was 25. Find the mean mark for the girls. So we can find the total mark, which would be 26.8 times by 30 is 804. And the total mark for the boys would be 13 times 25, which would be 325. And what we can do is find out the total mark for the girls by taking it away, which would be 804 minus 325 is 479, To find the mean mark for the girls, we do the total mark of the girls divided by the number of girls, which would be 17. And that would give us 28.2. So well done the girls, as they scored far higher than the boys. Change a speed of x kilometers per hour into meters per second. Simplify your answer. So the first thing we want to do is x times 1000 would give us 1000 x meters per hour. Now if we want to convert that into minutes, we're going to divide it by 60. So you get 1000 over 60 x is meters per minute, and we want to divide it by 60 again, which would be divided by 3600 x meters per second. Now we want to simplify as much as possible, so 1000 divided by 3600 would give us 5 over 18 x meters per second. Solve the simultaneous equations. So we're going to first multiply the second equation by 2. So we get x plus 2y equals minus 0.5, and 6x minus 2y equals 32. I'm going to add these two equations together, which will give me 7x is equal to 31.5. So x would equal 31.5 divided by 7, which is 4.5. If x is 4.5, I can say 4.5 plus 2y is equal to minus 0.5. So 2y would equal minus 0.5 minus 4.5, which is minus 5, and y would equal minus 2.5. It has a gradient of 5 and passes through the point that has coordinates of that. So we know y equals mx plus c. So y would equal 5x plus c, and when x is 0, y is minus 3. So that is our plus c. So we can just write y is equal to 5x minus 3. And over here, bound by 4 straight lines. Write down the inequalities that define R. Well, x has to be between 0 and 2. So we know 0 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. And y has to be between 1 and 3. Now these are solid lines, so they can equal them. 1 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 3. Find the difference between the average crowd attendance for Barcelona and the average crowd attendance for Monaco. So we just need to do 7.7 times 10 to the power of 4 minus 9.5 times 10 to the power of 3. And that would give us an answer of 67,500, which would be 6.75 times 10 to the power of 4. The average crowd attendance for Chelsea is approximately 50 times that for Oxford. Is he correct? Well, if we do 8.3 times 10 to the power of 3 times 50, we would get 415,000, which would give us 4.15 times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Chelsea is 4.2 times 10 to the power of 4. So no, he is not correct, because it would actually be far greater. It would nearly be 10 times the amount of Chelsea. During last season, the cost of a ticket to watch Spearn United increase by 15%, then decrease by 8%. Work out the overall percentage cost increase. So what we would do is 1.15 would be the increase, and then times that by 0.92, which would give us 1.058, and so on. Well, now what we know is this would be an increase of 5.8%. So the overall increase would be 5.8%. Calculate the perimeter. So the first thing we know is we know that this length is 16.7. So using SOHCAHTOA, we can find CD. So CD would equal, remember, so it would be 16.7 over sine 43, as CD would be the hypotenuse and 16.7 would be the opposite. And we also need to work out, if I call this point x, xd, well, for that we're going to use tan. So we know that would be 16.7 over tan 43. Now to work out the perimeter, I would leave your answers as accurate as possible. So the perimeter would be 16.7 plus 21.2 plus 16.7 over sine 43 plus 16.7 over tan 43 plus 21.2. And if you were to work that out, you get 101.495 and so on, which to three significant figures would be 101. Now we want the cumulative frequency, so remember we're just going to add all the frequencies together. So we get 17 plus 12 is 29, 29 plus 19 is 48, 48 plus 18 is 66, 66 plus 14 is 80. Now it should equal the total number right at the bottom. What we want to do here is, by drawing a cumulative frequency graph, we want 7 and 5. So that's going to be that point there, be 10 and 17, which is there, 15 and 29, which is there, 20 and 48 is there, 66 and 25, and 30 and 80. And remember, what you want really is a smooth curve that goes between all the points, slightly better than mine. For the median, we go to halfway where the frequency is and come all the way down. Now you want to use a ruler for this to get a far more accurate reading of this. And what you would get here would be 17. An estimate for the interquartile range. So we want to go 1/4 of the way, which would be 20. And if we come down, that would give us 13, and we go to 60. And if we come down here, that would give us how much would that give us? That would give us 23.5. That would not be 13, that would be 11.5. And what we would get is 23.5 minus 11.5 would give us an interquartile range of 12 minutes. Find the magnitude of AC. So for AC, what we're going to do is we're going to find AC is going to equal AB plus BC, which would be 6 minus 9 plus minus 1 minus 3, because that would be reversed, because remember that's CB. And that would give us 5 minus 12, and the magnitude would be the square root of 5 squared plus minus 12 squared, which would just give us 13. Make x the subject, so what we're going to do is square both sides. Minus 2 over x plus 1. Multiply the whole thing by this, so I get y squared x plus y squared is equal to 3x minus 2. And I'm going to take all the x's on one side and the y's on one side. So I'm going to get y squared plus 2 is equal to 3x minus y squared x. And on this side, I'm going to factorize out my x's. So I get 3 minus y squared is equal to y squared plus 2. So I know that x would equal y squared plus 2 over 3 minus y squared. Show that 4 plus root 8 over root 2 minus 1 can be written in this form. Well, we have to rationalize the denominator first, which means multiplying the top and the bottom by root 2 plus 1. And what we're going to get, if we multiply out the numerators, we're going to get 4 root 2 plus 4 plus root 16 plus root 8 all over 2 plus root 2 minus root 2 minus 1. And remember, what we can do is the root 16 will become 4, and the root 8 is the same as root 4 root 2, which is the same as 2 root 2. So if we go back, we can collect our like terms, which would be 4 root 2 plus 2 root 2 is 6 root 2 plus 8 all over 1. If we want to write it in that form, we can have 8 plus 6 root 2. Y is directly proportional to the cube of x. That means y equals kx cubed. Y equals 20h when x equals h. Find the formula for y and x in terms of h. So now what we can say is 20h is equal to kh cubed, which means k is equal to 20 over h squared, and therefore y is equal to 20 over h squared times x cubed. Find x in terms of h when y equals 67.5h. So we know 67.5h is equal to 20 over h squared x cubed. So I get 67.5 cubed over 20 is equal to x cubed. And if I was to cube root all of that, so 67.5 divided by 20 is 27 over 8h cubed is equal to x cubed. Now if I cube root all of that, I get x is equal to 3 over 2h, or 1.5h. diagram shows a solid cuboid. The total surface area of the cuboid is A centimeters squared. Find the maximum value of A. So let's think about all the sides we have here. So I know I have two sides where it's going to be 2 times x squared, plus I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides where it will be 12x minus 3x squared. That would be the 4 sides on the outside. Now, if I was to multiply this out, I am going to get 2x squared plus 48x minus 12x squared. And if we were to simplify this, I'm going to get 48x minus 10x squared. And remember, to find the maximum value, I need to differentiate this. So I get 48 minus 20x and make it equal 0. So 20x equals 48. X would equal 48 divided by 20, which is 2.4. Now, we're not quite finished there because we need to substitute the value of 2.4 back into the equation. So I can get 48 times 2.4 minus 10 times 2.4 squared, and that should give us a value of 57.6. ABCD is a quadrilateral. The area of the triangle ACD is 250 centimeters squared. Calculate the area of the quadrilateral ABCD. Show you're working clearly. Now, in order to find this, what we know is the missing angle in the triangle ABC would be 38. So if this angle is 38, we already have that. And by using that, we want to see if we can find any of the other lengths. So we want to think about, well, what angles do we have? It says that the area of the triangle ACD. So I can find out AC because a half times AC times 26 sine 39 would equal this value 250. So by doing that, we can find out that AC, if we were to divide 250 by sine 39 and 26 and a half, we get AC would equal 30.6. And now we need to find another length. So I know that AC over sine 95 would equal BC over sine 38. So BC would equal AC sine 38 over sine 95. And that would give me a different value. So BC would equal 18.8. And now we can find out the area of the second triangle, ABC, which would be a half times AC times BC times sine 47, which would give us 0.5 times 18.8 times 30.6 times sine, about 210. And what we do is we need to add that to the 250 that we were already given. So we get roughly 461. Sorry, this is about 211. And we get the total area being 461 to 3 significant figures. I have obviously simplified my values here, but you should use the most accurate values, not values to 3 significant figures. The equation of L is y equals 9 minus x, and the equation of the curve C is this. They intersect at 2 points. So what we're going to do is we're going to sub in this for everywhere we see y. We're going to get x squared minus 3x times 9 minus x plus 2 times 9 minus x squared equals 0. That would simplify to x squared minus 27x plus 3x squared plus 81 times 2, which is 162 minus 36x plus 2x squared equals 0. So if we collect all of our like terms, we have x squared plus 3x squared plus 2x squared. That will give us 6x squared minus 27 minus 36x is minus 63x plus 162 is equal to 0. And we can divide everything by 3, which would give us 2x squared minus 21x plus 54 equals 0. And yes. And now if we have this, we can use the quadratic formula, or you can factorize it, whereby you get 2x minus 9 and x minus 6 equals 0. So x is equal to 9 over 2, or 6. That gives us the 2x coordinates. So when x equals 6, y is equal to 9 minus 6, which is 3. And when x equals 9 over 2, y is equal to 9 minus 9 over 2, which is 9 over 2. So the 2 points would be 6, 3, 9 over 2, and 9 over 2. Is that what you get? Yes. For this cuboid, find the length AB to the length of BC. So we want the length of AB to the length of BC to the length of CF. It gives us 4 to 2 to 3. Calculate the side of the angle AF and the plane ABCD. So over here, we know that if this is 4x, this would be 2x, and this would be 3x. So the length of AC would equal the square root of 4x squared plus 2x squared, which would give us 16x squared, square root of 20x squared, which would be root 20x squared. And the length of, or the angle between AF, as we now have these 2 points, well, sorry, once we've squared it, the square would be removed. So now we know that the angle FAC would be arctan, and we'd have the opposite, which would be 3x over root 20x. The x's would cancel out, so we just get arctan of 3 over root 20, which would give us 33.9 to 1 decimal place. Simplify fully. So with this, we can remove an x from the top, so we're left with 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. And the bottom, we would have a difference of 2 squares. So we get 2x minus 5 and 2x plus 5. The top, remember, we can do AC, which would equal minus 30. And that would be minus 10 and minus 3. So you can get 6x squared minus 3x minus 10x minus 5. So we can simplify this into 2x minus 1 and minus 5, and we get x minus... we get plus... It would be, it's plus 13. So the minus 30 would be 15 and 2. That's my mistake, which would be plus 15 and minus 2. So if I get that would change our numbers slightly. So here we'd be left with 2x. And here we'd have 3x minus 1. And here we would have, we can take out a factor of, if we have 3x minus 1 in here, we get a factor of plus 5. So our two brackets would be 2x plus 5, 3x minus 1. And here we can then write it as x, 2x plus 5, 3x minus 1, all over 2x minus 5, 2x plus 5. And what we get here is the 2x plus 5's will cancel out, and I can multiply the x in, so I get 3x squared minus x over 2x minus 5. That would be as simple as you can really give it. Or you can give it as the factorized version, which would be this. Either or. Boris has a bag that only contains red and green sweets. Boris takes at random 2 sweets from the bag. The probability that he takes exactly 1 red sweet is 12 over 35. Originally there were 3 red sweets in the bag. Work out how many green sweets they were. So if he was to take out 2 sweets from the bag, let's say his first sweet was red, that means he has to pick a green sweet, which means x minus 3 are the green sweets, and now he has 1 less sweet. But there are 2 ways that he can do this. So we need to add, well, what if he picked a green sweet first and a red sweet second? And that would equal 12 over 35. So over here, we can write it as 1 common fraction over x squared minus x, and we get 3x minus 9 plus 3x minus 9. That would equal 12 over 35. And if we were to simplify that, we would get 6x minus 18 over x squared minus x is equal to 12 over 35. So I can multiply that, so 6 times 35 would be 210x, and minus 630 would equal 12x squared minus 12x. put all my terms onto one side. So I'm going to get 12x squared minus, so minus 12 minus 210 would give me minus 222x plus 630 is equal to 0. And I can divide everything by 6, so I get 2x squared minus 37x, and that would be 630 divided by 6 would be 105. And here you can either use the quadratic formula or you can factorize it. So if you were to factorize it, you would get 2x and x, and you get minus 7 minus 15. So x is equal to 7 over 2 or 15. Now we can't have half as sweet, so we know x has to equal 15. So 15 is the total number of sweets. So remember, the green was x minus 3, which is 12 sweets. And this is the last question. Find f of 5. So everywhere we see x, we're just going to substitute 5, which would be 15 minus 5 is 10. Oh, sorry, it's not 5, it is 2. That makes more sense. So 15 minus 2 is 13. Function g of x is this. Express the inverse function g of x in this form. So if we were to do this, the first thing we want to do is complete the square. So I'm going to say y is equal to 2 brackets x squared minus 10x plus 9, which would be 2 brackets x minus 5 squared minus 2 times 5 squared plus 9, which would give us 2 brackets x minus 5 squared. That would give us 25 minus 50 plus 9, so minus 41 is equal to y. And now I can get y plus 41 is equal to 2 times x minus 5 squared. And you get y plus 41 over 2 is equal to x minus 5 squared. Now if we square root it, we get plus or minus the square root of y plus 41 is equal to 2. It's equal to x minus 5. And I can add it, so I get x would equal 5 plus or minus the square root of y plus 41 all over 2. Now it says x is greater than 5, so it has to be the positive value. So remember, when we're writing our inverse, we're only going to consider the positive value, and we're going to replace all of our y's with x's. So the inverse would be 5 plus the square root of x plus 41 all over 2. And that's it for the paper. Don't forget, visit our website, www.feynmaneducation.com, for more information on how we can help you, or visit our TikTok channels, Instagram page, and all of that as well, just for some useful content. And that was how to get 100% on your iGCSE Maths Paper 2 in under 45 minutes. I hope you liked it. Hope you found it useful. Comment if you have any other questions or if you need any other help as well. Give us a follow. We're going to regularly be posting more videos online. Bye-bye.